Okay, let's jump right in. We're unpacking this deep dive into renewed electronics today.
Yep, specifically focusing on an M1 MacBook Air from Amazon Renewed.
We've got the product page, bunch of customer reviews, details on protection plans, quite a bit to sift through.
And our goal really is to cut through that noise, find the essentials. We want you to get a real sense of what buying one of these is like based purely on these sources.
Like a shortcut to being informed, right?
Exactly.
We'll cover the laptop itself, what renewed even means according to Amazon here, the savings potential.
Which looks pretty big on paper.
Definitely. Then we get into the customer experiences like the good, the less good.
The mixed bag, yeah. And sometimes challenging stuff.
And finally, those add-on protection options.
It's all about comparing that promise, powerful machine, big discount, against the reality we're seeing in these reviews.
So what's the takeaway for you if you're thinking about this kind of purchase? Let's get into it. First up, the product. It's that Apple MacBook Air, the 2020 model, 13.3-inch screen.
The one with the M1 chip, big deal at the time.
Right, and this specific configuration listed is 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD, space gray. Pretty standard.
And the sources give us the key specs. That screen resolution, 2560 by 1600, nice and sharp. And the M1 chip details 8-core CPU, up to 8-core GPU, that 16-core neural engine for AI stuff.
Standard RAM and storage, like you said, 8 and 256.
And Apple's claim, remember, was up to 18 hours of battery life on these things.
Yeah, it was a huge selling point, on paper at least.
Okay, so let's decode Amazon Renewed based just on what these sources say.
Right. What does it actually mean here?
The source says products are inspected, tested, and refurbished as necessary. Crucially, it's by Amazon qualified suppliers.
And they make a point of saying not certified by Apple. That feels important.
Definitely. The process described is basically someone returns it, maybe trades it in, It gets fixed up by these third parties, and then Amazon lists it for sale.
Okay. The source also mentions a sort of dual goal for the program.
Yeah, offering a cheaper option, which is obvious.
And also reducing e-waste. They frame it as purchases with an impact.
A bit of green positioning there.
So what should you actually expect to find in the box?
The sources say accessories are equivalent to new, so maybe not the original Apple charger or cable, but something compatible and functional.
And the laptop itself.
Should come in either the original box or just a new, clean cardboard one. And it's restored to factory settings, like setting up a new Mac.
Got it. And they mentioned cosmetic condition level?
Right. Premium, excellent, good, acceptable. This specific listing we're looking at focuses just on excellent and good.
And there's a safety net.
Yeah.
The Amazon Renewed Guarantee.
Yes. Eligible for replacement or refund, basically following Amazon's usual policies.
But specifically for these excellent and good ones, it mentions a 90-day window for that refund or replacement.
Correct. But there's a little catch noted in the source, especially for the good condition.
Oh.
If you return it used, damaged, or, significantly different, you might only get a partial refund, or maybe none at all. So checking it thoroughly within those 90 days seems pretty critical.
Good point. Okay, let's talk money. The price. This is probably where most people start.
Probably. So the source lists excellent at $459.
And good condition.
$419.99. So $420.
And how does that stack up against buying it new, according to the source?
The new price cited is $648.99. Let's call it 649%.
Wow. Okay, so the savings.
Yeah, they're substantial. For excellent, that's like $190 off, roughly 29%.
And for good.
Even better. $229 saving. That's a 35% discount off the new price. Huge chunk.
That's really significant, and you can see how that connects directly to the customer feedback, right?
Absolutely. The source highlights positive comments on value for money and laptop quality. People saying, good value, best bargain, worth the money.
And often adding that the condition was, quote, superb. Which is interesting given what we'll discuss later.
True, but the value part definitely resonates.
Okay, value aside, what about performance? Does the M1 promise hold up in these renewed units?
Well, the tech specs promise that giant leap, remember. Faster CPU, faster graphics compared to older Intel Airs.
Up to 3.5x faster CPU, 5x faster graphics, I think it said.
Something like that. And the customer feedback seems to back this up strongly. Lots of comments about fast processing, apps running smoothly.
Starts quickly, operates like new.
Yeah.
People seem happy with the speed.
Yeah, and there was that one specific anecdote mentioned, Philip J. Fry.
Right. Running Lightroom and Photoshop very smoothly.
Yeah.
On an Air, even a renewed one, That's impressive.
It really is. Suggests the core M1 performance is delivered, even in this renewed context.
But okay, this is where we need to dig a bit deeper, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not all glowing praise when you look at the full picture from the reviews.
Exactly. The overall experience seems a bit more, let's say, nuanced. There's definitely variability.
And the sources really highlight that.
Yeah.
Let's talk cosmetic condition first. The source confusingly calls this scratch resistance.
Yeah, which isn't really it. It's about the condition on arrival. Scratches, dents, that kind of thing.
And that AI summary was stark. 55 positive mentions versus 82 negative mentions about the condition.
That's quite a split. So while you get some people saying practically brand new or looked like new, no imperfections.
Of course, there are clearly many others finding issues.
Right. The sources detail things like tiny scratches on the edge, maybe keys looking worn.
Someone named Danielle mentioned rough spots or marks on the body. Others saw mild scratches or chips on the top or bottom casing.
So even if you pay for excellent, it seems like getting a cosmetically perfect unit is, well, it's not guaranteed. It's a bit of a lottery.
A gamble, yeah. You save money, but you might get some dings.
What about battery life? Apple claimed 18 hours new. How are these renewed ones faring?
Also a mixed bag, according to the sources. Plenty of positive reports. People getting units with 99 or 100% charge capacity showing.
Or high remaining health, like 93, 95, 97%. That's pretty good for a used machine.
And some mentioned low cycle counts too. Some reported 220 cycles, others around 100. Suggests decent life left.
Okay, that sounds promising. But the mixed part.
Well, others noticed the percentage dropping quickly, or maybe the laptop not quite holding a full charge anymore.
Oh.
Arlene apparently had a battery issue, and Danielle's unit, the one with the rough spots, arrived with only 82% capacity reported.
Oof. 82% isn't great out of the box.
No. So again, often good, but you need to check that battery health right away. It's not uniformly near new.
Right. And then the charger. This seems to come up a lot with renewed stuff.
Yeah, the sources confirm it's a common point here too. Some lucky folks got the original Apple charger.
But sounds like that's the exception.
Seems like it. Many others got an aftermarket one, which is fine if it works.
If it works, let me guess.
Exactly. Some were faulty. Arlene's faulty charger story was rough. She needed a new one, couldn't get troubleshooting, and her 90-day return window had just closed.
Ouch. That's frustrating.
Israel Santiago got a generic 65W one, seemed okay with it. And Tejon just bought a separate Anchor charger straight away and recommended others do the same.
So the takeaway seems to be expect a generic charger and maybe budget for potentially needing to buy your own decent one.
Seems prudent, yeah. Any other interesting bits from the customer comments?
A couple of highlights. People generally like the keyboard quality, which is good news for a laptop.
Alexandre and Jacob Smalls mentioned that specifically.
And then there was that outlier Savasco getting a surprise upgrade to 16 gigabyte of RAM instead of 8 GB.
Huh. Nice bonus, but definitely don't count on that happening.
No, absolutely not. Just a lucky break.
So summing up the experience, great performance potential, big savings.
But trade it off against potentially iffy cosmetics, variable battery health out of the box, and almost certainly a non-Apple charger that might be dodgy.
And that 90-day return policy is your main safety net for those initial issues.
Which leads perfectly into the last bit of the source material, those optional protection plans.
Right. Given the potential issues raised in reviews, these seem more relevant than usual.
The source details 3 from Asurion. There's a 4-year plan for about $110.
And a 2-year one for around $64.
And the key thing these cover is accidental damage drops, spills right from day one. The 90-day guarantee won't cover that.
Good point. And they also cover malfunctions after the manufacturer's warranty ends, which is typically a year for Apple.
Usually, yeah. These plans offer 247 support, and claims result in repair, replacement, or an Amazon gift card.
You have to buy them with the laptop or within 30 days, though. And no coverage for problems it already had when you bought it.
Makes sense. Then there's that third option, Complete Protect, different model.
Yeah, $16.99 a month. And it covers all your eligible Amazon purchases, past, within a year, and future.
Interesting. Broader coverage. What does it cover?
Malfunctions, failures, drops, and spills for portable stuff like laptops. Up to $5,000 in claims per year.
Okay. When does that coverage start?
30 days after you sign up for things you already bought. And it just renews monthly. Excludes business use, though.
So thinking about those customer complaints, dodgy chargers after 90 days, maybe battery issues cropping up later, or just dropping the thing.
Right. These plans seem designed to address exactly those kinds of post-90-day risks that the reviews highlight. They extend protection beyond that initial window and cover accidents.
They definitely feel less like a pure upsell and more like, well, actual insurance against the known variables of buying renewed based on what other customers have experienced.
A calculated risk mitigation, perhaps?
Yeah, adds a layer of security on top of that basic 90-day return option.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways from this deep dive into the sources on the Amazon renewed M1 Air.
Big picture, definitely a way to get that powerful M1 chip performance for significantly less cash than buying new.
The pros are clear from the sources. Great value, often works perfectly fine functionally, and a nickel battery health is frequently pretty good.
But the potential downsides are just as clear from those customer reviews. Cosmetics are a real roll of the dice. Scratches, dents seem fairly common.
The charger is almost certainly not Apple, and you might even need to buy a new one if it's faulty.
And battery health, while often good initially, isn't guaranteed to be near 100%, and you need to consider its future lifespan.
And always remember, third-party refurbished, not Apple certified. That 90-day guarantee is your first stop, but understanding those protection plans seems wise given the potential issues reported later on.
It's all there in the source material, the allure of the deal versus the reality of the potential imperfections.
So when you weigh it all up, the specs, the significant savings, against the mixed experiences with cosmetics and accessories detailed in these sources, buying this renewed M1 Air looks like a really attractive option financially.
It absolutely does, but it comes with clear trade-offs, doesn't it? The sources show it probably won't look brand new, and you might have some minor accessory hassles.
Which brings us to the final thought for you, the listener. Having heard all this distilled from the sources, how do you personally weigh those factors? Is the big cost saving, plus maybe the environmental point of reuse, worth the risk of getting a unit with cosmetic flaws or needing to buy a charger? What matters most to you in this kind of tech purchase?